Hi, John D. Harrison here with another edition of Casual Fridays. It seems that I'm on a bit of a trend here with Casual Fridays. It looks like the topic of video games plus music seems to be a reoccurring theme, excuse the pun. But I really didn't want to pass up this opportunity to tell you about a great experience that I was able to enjoy with my wife all the way back in November 23rd. It's 2013, so that's already last year. A little backdrop about me and why I found this particular event so special. If you're interested in the full review or just looking for the song list of the concert itself, you can jump down below. But if you're not already a fan of the Final Fantasy series or video games at all, it might be really easy to dismiss this idea of a concert that focuses on video game music. In fact, there's been this long-standing debate, although it's somewhat settled at this point, whether or not video games even count as art. First of all, Final Fantasy, as a name, has been around almost 25 years. The realization of this makes me feel just a little old, by the way. But there are 14, soon to be 15, numbered games in the entire main series. Final Fantasy has failed to live up to its name because nothing about it has proven to be final. In fact, what makes it really interesting is that it tends to reinvent itself. In that main series, the stories are standalone. There's no sequels. The story doesn't continue one for the next. It's each taking place in a different world or even a different universe. There are common elements from one to the next, but sometimes even the gameplay style changes, especially since the release of Final Fantasy X. One of the contributing factors to this might have to do with the change in technology. So the early games were very limited based on what the hardware could do. And then there was also a merger between two companies, Square and Enix, and I'm sure that had a little bit to do with the direction of the series. But anyways, I mention all this to point out that each of these games is a really unique experience. It follows a group of individuals, typically, united by fate off to save the world or something along those lines. Perhaps another way of looking at it would be imagine a science fiction world where you're at the center of the story, and it combines complex themes with elements from some great stories. Imagine an interactive Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or the Magnificent Seven or Blade Runner or even, dare I say, The Wizard of Oz. You get the idea. But part of what makes this whole experience so special is the amazing soundtrack that has accompanied each of these games. Now consider this, many of these games were made with old, limited hardware and technology at the time, so you can imagine how the translation of going from a single 8-bit sound processor to an entire live orchestra could truly be an amazing experience. Even my wife was already into the music, and she truly enjoyed that night. It was great for us. We got to dress up, go down to Miami. It was fun. Now, one thing that I want to cover that I don't know that everyone covers, and I didn't find much information on it myself, is what about a dress code? What do you wear when you go to an event like this? Well, there seem to be three basic answers, that's three, that I saw, and I want to share them with you in case you plan on going to one of these events. The first option is formal wear. I chose this option, wore a suit jacket, wore a shirt, no tie, but I did break out some cufflinks, and I thought this was great. Keep it classy. I recommend this. Gamers out there, you will shock people. They might be surprised to learn that gamers actually change out of their pajamas. But I wanted to have a good time. My wife dressed up. She was gorgeous in this beautiful purple dress she had, and she just looked amazing. So it was a fun time for us, and we made a night of it. About 45-50% of people who attended the concert chose this option. Now, option number two is to go casual. Okay, think twice before putting on a wrinkled t-shirt and blue jeans. I think it enforces a stereotype unnecessarily. I did notice about 30-40% of people did choose to go this option. You may be comfortable this way, but you paid a lot of good money to see some talented individuals dust something off, honor the musicians, honor the venue, get something out that you have to iron, and something that has a collar on it. When I say a collar, I don't mean one with chains and spikes. But that brings me to number three. Number 3, the third option here is what they call cosplay. Now, about 10% of people went this option, and this means the individual's dressed up like someone straight out of one of the video games. Now, this concept is cool when it's done well. But more often than not, the results can be very odd. So be thoughtful. Remember, a lot of video game characters don't have a lot of cloth involved, or it's very stylized. You're probably not going to stop at the mall on the way home without turning a few heads. But kudos to the brave and talented folks who do this and do it well. The key here, go big or go home. Now back to the event. I wanted to tell you that Distance Worlds Miami's performance included over 22 songs from the Final Fantasy playlist. My personal favorite was the encore. One Winged Angel from Final Fantasy VII was there. There was no choir to sing the vocal portion, so the entire audience was brought in and asked to sing along with the song. It was amazing, and also inspired a lot of laughter. It's worth noting that also during this particular event, there were 2 marriage proposals where the director Arnie Roth and the rest of the team got in on the fun and actually incorporated the proposals into the presentation. Up on screen, in front of the entire audience, an individual's name was displayed, not once but twice, 2 separate times. There was build-up, and thankfully, both times, they said yes. Now, I want to summarize this. If you appreciate excellent music, if you're a fan of the Final Fantasy series, or you're simply looking for something to do rather than go out and grab a movie and dinner with your loved one, I cannot recommend enough the Distant Worlds concert performance series. Check it out. It's well worth the money. It's well worth the opportunity. Dress up, have a great night, enjoy it, and enjoy the track list below.